Help me reach my goal and subscribe. And hit the bell icon.
Chapter 68-66. Just when the guests were having a great time playing with the manta rays, a butler suddenly shouted, "Oh my God! Oh my God! Look at the work group." The manager said that the superstar Tawana Sweet will come to our place for vacation tomorrow. Let us prepare to work overtime tonight to prepare for the welcome. Really? Several butlers suddenly went crazy, each of them looked surprised. And then quickly took out their mobile phones. Then, several people jumped and cheered excitedly. It's true. Tawana Sweet is really coming. Oh my God. Tell me this is not a dream. White Horse Island has always attached great importance to the privacy of guests. Once a well-known guest is coming, the top management will keep it highly confidential until the evening of the day before the guest arrives. And then notify the employees below. Because he is an important and well-known guest, they have to prepare a special welcoming ceremony for the distinguished guests one night in advance. Among the previous guests of White Horse Island, there has never been a shortage of international superstars. But Tawana Sweet has never been here. For many people who like European and American pop music, Tawana Sweet is a unique existence. No matter how popular others are, they are always one level lower than her. Even the God-level Beyoncé cannot be compared with her influence. Moreover, most of these housekeepers are young people who are at the age when they like Tawana Sweet. They don't make much money on weekdays and have no ability to go to various parts of the world to watch Tawana's concerts. Now they suddenly heard that Tawana Sweet would land on White Horse Island tomorrow. And everyone is extremely excited. The cheers of several housekeepers attracted the attention of some guests. Some guests heard the content of their conversation and asked in surprise, "Tawana Sweet is coming to White Horse Island. Is it true?" Because Tawana will land on the island tomorrow morning and will start making welcome materials tonight. It is difficult to keep it secret from the guests on the island at this moment. So the staff generously admitted, "This is the news we have received so far. But we can't guarantee whether it is true or not and whether there will be any other changes." A group of tourists who were playing with manta rays on the beach cheered excitedly. It was difficult to spend 10 times the price to buy a concert ticket and see the idol from a distance. How can this not make people excited? Moreover, although White Horse Island is an island, it is actually a large hotel. All public facilities on it are open to all guests unless there are unexpected circumstances. This means that everyone is likely to eat in the same restaurant, swim in the same pool, and go out to sea on the same yacht with Tawana. Among this group of extremely excited tourists, 2 people looked surprised and did not show any joy. One was Charlie. The other was Claire. Charlie didn't want to see Tawana at all, especially when he was with Claire. He even suspected that Tawana had secretly sent someone to monitor him and knew that he was there, so she followed him. But he thought about it carefully again. Tawana shouldn't be so capable. Combined with what she said before, it seemed that she wanted to go on vacation. So he felt that this was more likely a coincidence. But coincidence is 2f-cubed, right? When he and Claire went out to travel, not to mention spending time together, at least they could stay quiet for a few days. When Tawana is in the equation, how could they be quiet? Moreover, the enthusiasm and unrestrainedness of this woman sometimes made him unable to resist. He preferred the relatively implicit warmth, as the saying goes, tenderness is like water. Claire didn't feel happy at all. Since she knew Charlie's true identity, she guessed a lot of things about Tawana. The reason why Tawana came to China to hold so many concerts was probably because of her husband's invitation. After all, Tawana was invited by Changing Automobile, which is a joint venture between her husband's grandfather and her maternal grandfather. Even the brand uses the name of Charlie's father. With this inference, it seems that Charlie's running around with Tawana under the banner of Feng Shui director a few days ago is also a frame. She already suspected that the male dancer, who was kissed by Tawana on the stage, was Charlie. But she thought that an international superstar like Tawana would not be interested in a Feng Shui master like her husband. At that time, she felt that compared with her husband Charlie, Tawana was simply a figure in the sky, and the gap was huge. But now, it is not Tawana who is high in the sky, but Charlie. Now, she and Charlie have just arrived at Whitehorse Island. And Tawana will come tomorrow. Needless to say, she knows that she must be coming for Charlie. This is the only time she has traveled with Charlie, and it may be the last time. But what she never expected was that another competitor, with an extraordinary status, would come soon. How could she feel good about this? Seeing Charlie's expression was a little surprised. She deliberately asked him, "Husband, Miss Sweet is also coming to Whitehorse Island. Isn't this too coincidental? Have you told her before that you are coming here?" "No." Chapter 68-67. Charlie sighed, "I only said that I was going out for a vacation during the Chinese New Year. But I didn't tell them where I was going. There are so many resorts in the world, and there are so many resort islands in the Maldives. I didn't expect Tawana to choose here." Claire saw that Charlie didn't seem to be lying. But thinking of what he said in the past, she was skeptical in her heart. But she said, "Although there are many resorts in the world, it is winter in the entire northern hemisphere now. The only seaside resorts with such good weather are tropical regions and the southern hemisphere. The Maldives is one of the well-deserved first choices. Besides, the Whitehorse Island we came to is also the best in the Maldives. It's not surprising that Miss Sweet is so rich that she chose this place." As she said, she muttered in a low voice, "You and Miss Sweet are quite predestined to meet here." Charlie said awkwardly, "So, I am also quite predestined with the Middle Eastern boss of the restaurant just now. It's fate." Claire nodded and said, "You know I've been in Oris Hill for so many years. And I haven't met anyone familiar on the local subway, let alone when I go out. You've come abroad, and you can still meet acquaintances one after another. It must be fate." Charlie smiled twice and said nothing. Because the housekeepers were busy going back to prepare for Tawana's landing on the island, Charlie and Claire walked along the beach back to their water villa. Jacob and Elaine, who lived next door, had not returned yet. Just as Charlie was about to enter the house, he saw the door of the room across the street open. And Hamid walked out of the villa, then waved to Charlie. "Brother Wade, is it convenient for you to chat for a while?" Charlie nodded, "Okay." After that, he told Claire, "Wife, you go back first. I will chat with this brother for a while." Claire nodded slightly, pushed the door, and entered the villa first. Hamid walked towards Charlie at this time. And when he came to him, he whispered to him, "Brother, let's talk for a moment." There were independent water villas around, and although the privacy was very good, if they talked about things outside, they would probably be heard by others. So the two of them walked a long distance apart before Charlie asked him, "Brother, do you have something to talk to me about?" Hamid said to him, "Brother, I have booked a flight for the day after tomorrow morning and plan to go back. I will take a seaplane from Cheval Blanc directly to Mail, and then fly to Beirut." Charlie asked him, "Is this the original plan, or a spur-of-the-moment decision?" "Temporary." Hamid sighed and said, "I originally planned to take a good rest for a while. But after listening to your chat at the entrance of the restaurant in the evening, I was always nervous and a little uneasy, so I planned to go back early. I wanted to leave tomorrow, but my two wives heard that the international drama Tawana suite would land on the island tomorrow, and they refused to leave. They insisted on meeting her, taking a photo with her, and asking for her autograph before leaving. I had no choice but to change it to the day after tomorrow. After that," he said with some melancholy, "I originally wanted to catch up with you, brother. But it seems that I can only wait until next time." Charlie said, "It's okay, brother, go back and do your business first. During this period, you should seize the time to contact some marginal forces in the opposition. It's always good to make arrangements in advance." At this point, Charlie suddenly thought of something and asked him, "Brother, do you still remember that I helped you resist the attack of the cataclysmic front before?" "Of course I remember," Hamid said excitedly. "Every one of your strategies was extremely useful. Digging tunnels on the reverse slope, repairing fortifications, building bunkers, crossfire network coverage, and drone reconnaissance defeated those well-trained cataclysmic front soldiers. Oh, I can't help but get excited when I think about it now." Charlie said, "What I want to remind you is the drone. When I asked you to make good use of drones earlier, those small drones were mainly used for reconnaissance. They are flexible and maneuverable, with small targets, and are almost not detected by the enemy. However, the war situation in Eastern Europe has been deadlocked in the past 2 years, and drones have been developed for many new uses. Most of them are used to carry small bombs for low-altitude bombing and suicide attacks. I think you should hurry up and stockpile a large number of drones. Preferably 100,000. Once the enemy launches a general attack on you, drones will be very effective." "Yeah," Hamid nodded in agreement. "I have also read a lot of related reports. This thing is very powerful, low cost, and difficult to defend." Chapter 68. Charlie said, "You must also be prepared to defend against drones. See if you can purchase advanced radars. Once the enemy's drones attack, I dare not say that I can completely defend against them. But at least I must have advanced preparations to prevent the other party from using drones to carry out precision strikes on your large equipment, or to carry out decapitation operations against you." "No problem." Hamid's face was stern, and he also realized the danger. He said, "I will ask them to take anti-drone measures in the permanent fortifications and the entrances of the reverse slope tunnels." Charlie also reminded him, "You must make drone air patrols a normal practice. Closely monitor the movement of personnel and equipment within a radius of 50 kilometers from your base. And also prepare for escape. Once the war is one-sided, find a way to escape alive. And then come to China to find me. I will keep you safe." Hamid was a little nervous. "Brother, is the situation so pessimistic? The current base is where I have so many. I have invested so much money, and built so many new infrastructures. If I really give up, those BA-5 tards will get nothing for nothing. Charlie shook his head and said, "Brother, you have to have a big picture. When it comes to a life or death moment, there is nothing you can't give up except your life." Fearing that he would be too nervous and affect his mentality, Charlie smiled and said, "But it may not be that serious. It's always good to be well prepared. There are too many variables in your place, and anything can happen." Hamid bit his lip and nodded heavily, saying, "Okay. I'll listen to you." All the staff members stayed up all night on Bima Island. They set up a huge welcome banner and a flower wall at the dock. The red carpet was also taken out and cleaned thoroughly. Waiting to lay the red carpet from the dock to the hotel lobby early the next morning, Bernard, who was enjoying a spa massage with his wife under the sea, was still complaining to his wife when they took the elevator up. Why did that singer choose to come to Maldives at this time? By then, the whole island will probably be filled with shouting and screaming, which is so annoying. His wife said casually, "What's there to be annoyed about? We open the door to do business. As long as the guests can afford to pay, we should entertain them well." Bernard complained, "I don't want the resort I carefully built to become a noisy star-chasing scene like a vegetable market. It's a pity that this woman has too much influence. We can't refuse her from coming to the island. And we have to put on a welcoming posture. It's so annoying." His wife shrugged. "I told you a long time ago that if you plan to come here for vacation by yourself, it's best to let the hotel cancel all orders, so that our family can enjoy this island alone. It's not only quiet, but also safe, but you didn't listen." Bernard pouted and said, "It's as simple as you say. You know, if the hotel is closed because of us and we cancel the order, how much will we have to pay? We will have to compensate the order 3 to 5 times. And even compensate their air tickets and mental damages. If we encounter the kind of customers who like to sue at every turn, there will be more trouble in the future." The wife hugged her shoulders and grumbled with some dissatisfaction. "You are already so rich, can't you have a little more vision? Even if we compensate these customers as you said, how much money can we lose? A few million, at most tens of millions of dollars. Our family has assets of hundreds of billions of dollars, and the annual profit is also hundreds of billions of dollars. The returns from various investments are even more statistics. And they can't be counted. What does this money count for?" Bernard waved his hand and said, "You don't understand. Money is something that can be seen but not spent. There is a saying that we should save as much as possible. We should try our best to avoid unnecessary waste. How do you know if there will be any big expenses in the future?" In fact, Bernard never told his wife that he spent $108 billion to buy a pill from China. At the auction of the rejuvenation pill, he was lucky enough to win a rejuvenation pill for $72 billion by chance. At that time, the entire group and his own personal liquidity was only more than $80 billion. What he didn't expect was that he had already allocated millions of dollars of goods. But the owner of the rejuvenation pill didn't let him go and asked him to allocate 50% of the goods. Most of these billion allocated goods were paid in installments. For a rejuvenation pill, Bernard's assets have shrunk significantly, and his personal and group cash flow has become very stretched. There are still many installments that need to be repaid with the group's subsequent profits. At this time, let alone tens of millions of dollars in income, even if it is $100,000, he is unwilling to let go. In addition, there is another very important reason that he still hopes to save more money in these years. And when the effect of the rejuvenation pill is about to pass, he will quickly bid for the second pill. This means that he has to save at least 100 billion or 200 billion US dollars in the next 10 years to live another 20 years. Chapter 68-69. But he dare not tell his wife about these things. Because theoretically, the income of the company group is the common property of the couple. He used the money to pray for immortality, without caring about his wife's life or death. Once his wife knew about it, she would definitely make a fuss. For this reason, he did not hesitate to let the group's finance department falsify revenue and profit data to paralyze his wife and let her know nothing about it. Moreover, he had never told his wife about his cancer before, because, with his wealth level, he was wary of everyone around him. He was very worried that if his wife knew that he had cancer and was dying, she would immediately start to make preparations for the inheritance and the takeover of corporate control. Although it is a normal process between husband and wife for one party to have problems and the other party to prepare for both, Bernard is well versed in human nature. He knows that once his wife thinks that he will die soon and starts to prepare for his death, her feelings for him will become weaker and weaker. If he died within her expectations and did not disrupt her plans, she might be able to maintain a normal relationship between husband and wife before his death. But once he lived beyond her expectations and her long-prepared preparations were reduced to alternative options, he did not know whether she would complain about it. People are most afraid of changes in their mentality. The same thing, before the mentality changes, may be pain and torture. But after the mentality changes, it may be expectation and longing. In order to prevent this from happening, he never mentioned a word to his wife about the cancer and the rejuvenation pills, which changed him from hell to heaven. This is also a worry unique to the top rich people. His wife was still complaining at this time. "Bernard, do you know why you have become more and more stingy in this period of time? To be honest, you and I are so old, why bother about these material things like money? Even if there are no accidents in our lives, we will only have a dozen or 20 years at most. The most important thing is to make ourselves happy for the rest of our lives." Bernard muttered in his heart, "For you, life will only last for a dozen or 20 years at most. But for me, as long as I have enough money and as long as the rejuvenation pill auction continues, I may live another 40 years. However, he naturally did not dare to say these words. So he smiled and comforted. "This island is so big, our family only needs 2 houses. There is no need to clear the entire island. Sometimes we also need to get a taste of the worldly life. And it just so happens that Tawana is coming, and the island will definitely be very lively at that time. It's a good thing to think about it this way. By interacting more with young people, our mentality can also become younger and better." His wife looked at him in surprise and said, "You change your face too quickly. Just now you were complaining about Tawana's coming. Why do you think it's a good thing now?" Bernard smiled awkwardly and said, "Oh, there are always 2 sides to things. It may be a bit bad to look at the problem from that side, but it will be clear from this side." As he said that, he deliberately changed the subject and said, "By the way, wife, since Tawana is an international superstar, and is also very popular with the guests of Whitehorse Island, why don't we hold a party tomorrow, and invite Tawana and guests from the whole island to participate? Let's have fun together, and let us feel the feeling of youth. What do you think?" His wife shook her head helplessly and smiled. "I was the one who advised you. How come you are the one who advised me? But since you want to have fun, I have no objection." Bernard quickly struck while the iron was hot. "That's it. After Tawana arrives on the island tomorrow, I will talk to her about this matter. As long as she agrees, we will have a party in the evening." That night, accompanied by the humid sea breeze and the sound of waves on the tropical island, Charlie rarely found some real peace. Claire beside him went to bed early. She slept with her back to Charlie. And Charlie did not notice anything unusual. The next morning, when Charlie was still asleep, Claire quietly got up. Although she tried her best not to make any noise, Charlie still quickly sensed and woke up. After Claire got up, she left the bedroom. In this water villa, both the bedroom and the living room have a door facing the sea. After opening it, there is a jelly-like blue sea. Pushing the door out of the bedroom, there is a water terrace with a log fence on the side, which is very private. The whole villa is built on an underwater island reef, and the waves are rolling under your feet. There are 2 outdoor lounge chairs on the terrace, and there is a large freshwater swimming pool below. When Claire came out of the bedroom, the skyline had just begun to light up. But there was no sign of the sunrise. She sat on the recliner, propping her chin with one hand, staring at the brightest spot on the skyline, with a slightly absent-minded expression. Just then, Charlie pushed the door open and walked out. Claire turned to look at him and asked in surprise, "Are you awake? Did I disturb you?" Chapter 68-70. "No." Charlie smiled slightly and said, "Why did you come out to watch the sunrise alone without calling me?" Claire said unnaturally, "Isn't it because I was afraid of waking you up? You've been running around outside all day and night, and it's too hard. I finally came out to play and wanted you to rest more." Charlie nodded and sat down beside her. On the sea, the morning glow had begun to turn red, making Claire's fair face look red, like a fresh and rosy apple, delicate and tempting. Charlie looked absent-minded, and after a moment he looked around again. He didn't feel calm in his heart, but a little more impatient. Since his parents were killed in Oris Hill when he was 8 years old, he has not lived a normal life until today. Even though he is now on vacation in the picturesque Maldives, he still has to wear that mask in front of his wife. And he still thinks in his mind that he must avenge his parents. The deep hatred lingers in his heart, and even on vacation, it is difficult for him to really relax. He longs to kill Victoria as soon as possible, so that he can take off all his disguises and live a good life with Claire, and no longer have to think about the warrior's den and Victoria. However, it is still unknown how long it will take to achieve this goal. In a trance, the morning sun rises in the east. Claire is fascinated by the same red sun, but Charlie is distracted. When the sun rose completely from the sea, a seaplane appeared on the horizon. Seeing that the plane is getting closer and lower, Claire said to Charlie, "Someone has landed on the island so early, could it be Miss Tawana?" "It's possible," Charlie replied casually. He had a headache for Tawana. Claire couldn't help but tease. "It seems that you and Miss Sweet are quite predestined. You just worked together for so long, and now you meet here again." "Hey!" Charlie waved his hand. "I don't want to see any acquaintances on vacation." Claire said, "It's okay. Anyway, Our plan is only 4 nights this time. Now there are only 3 nights left. These 3 days will pass quickly. On the plane that was about to land, there were indeed Tawana and her family, as well as a team of bodyguards. Her private plane took off from Los Angeles and landed in Male before dawn after more than 10 hours and nearly 15,000 kilometers. Although she had a good rest on the plane, she still felt a little overwhelmed. Seeing that the seaplane she was going to take was about to arrive at the destination, she couldn't help complaining to her mother. Before coming here, I thought it would only take 7 or 8 hours to fly to the Maldives. But I didn't expect it would take so long. I regret it so much. If I had known that my agent would choose the Maldives for me, I should have learned about the distance first. Her mother smiled and said, "The Maldives is indeed not so famous in the United States, mainly because it is too far away. In fact, the climate in the Caribbean is not much different from here. And the scenery will not be much different. Next time if you want to take a tropical vacation, you can go to the Caribbean." Tawana's father immediately said, "Don't go to the Caribbean again. I think we should explore new places." "That's right," her mom said. Tawana felt particularly embarrassed. Her parents didn't know about the connection between her and those islands. If they knew that she often had fun with notorious people before, they would be very disappointed in her. The seaplane landed on the sea and then taxied all the way to the dock. After receiving the news, the staff had already rushed to the dock to prepare for the welcome. Even the general manager of Whitehorse Island and Bertnard's assistant came to the dock to welcome the international superstar, who was about to land on the island on behalf of Bertnard and the entire Whitehorse Island group. After the plane stopped, Tawana was the first to get off the plane, followed by her parents and 4 bodyguards, who followed closely behind them. Bertnard's assistant walked in front and came forward, saying respectfully, "Hello, Miss Sweet. I am Mr. Bertnard's personal assistant. My name is Alexander. And on behalf of Mr. Bertnard and his wife, I would like to extend my sincere welcome to you." Tawana was a little curious. Since Bertnard's personal assistant was here, did it mean that Bertnard was here too? Thinking of this, she asked, "Is Mr. Bertnard on the island?" "Yes." Alexander nodded and said with a smile, "What a coincidence, Mr. Bertnard and his wife have just arrived on the island not long ago. But they are both old, so they can't come to greet you in person so early. Please forgive us, Miss Sweet. You are too polite. I will visit Mr. Arno when at a convenient time." As a top star in the entertainment and music circles, Tawana has actually dealt with the capital behind these luxury brands a lot, and even had a lot of cooperation. Bertnard is a unique super-rich man in the entire luxury circle. So his status in the entertainment circle is naturally very transcendent. And Tawana has to give him more face. Alexander smiled and said, "Miss Sweet, Mr. Arno wanted me to tell you that he wants to organize a party on the island tonight, and invites you and all the guests on the island to attend. Are you interested?" Tawana naturally didn't want to attend any party when she was on vacation. Besides, if she held a party here, the participants would definitely be ordinary people, not insiders. She would be the only star, and that would definitely feel awkward. However, she couldn't refuse Bertnard's kindness as soon as she arrived on the island. So she could only agree and said, "It's great to be able to attend such a party. I'm interested."